Hey guys, it's Rosie. Welcome to my 2023 book wrap-up. We made it. What a year. What a year for reading, truly. I hit the ground running. I personally have had a very good year for reading. I set my goal originally at 40 books because I read 45 in 2022. And then I was like, you can do better. And then I set it to 52, one book a week. And then I was like, you can beat that. So I wanted to go for 75, but that was a little too ambitious for me at the point I was at. It was like October, and I was like, man, no. So I am finishing off the year at 68 books. Wow, that is the most books I've ever read in a year. That's pretty iconic for me. And I read a lot of really good books this year. I think I definitely prioritized new releases and, you know, trendy books that everyone was talking about. And in most cases, I'm glad I did. Like, for example, the Fourth Wing series, I'm so glad I hopped on that train when I did, because I do quite love those books. I am thrilled with what I've read. I did a lot of rereading, which is interesting. And I think that might have hindered me a bit when it came to getting to my goal. But I'll share my plan with you because there's plenty more I want to reread in 2024. So, anyways, let's do a quick little recap of all the books I read in 2023. Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss, Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. That's an honorable mention for top books, but I don't want to put like biographies and stuff in there because that's like her real life and not fiction, you know? Next. Lock Every Door, Riley Sager. Just Like Home, Sarah Gailey. That one was fucked up. The Many Daughters of Fong Moy by Jamie Ford. That one was really good. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, V.E. Schwab. The Writing Retreat, Julia Bartz. The Haunted Road Atlas, Sinister Stops and Dangerous Destinations. And True Crime Tales. Ugh. By Christine Schieffer and M. Schultz. You Better Be Lightning, which was a poetry book by Andrea Gibson, a queer poetry book, and also a Colorado author. Shout out. I got that one from Kenan. Thanks, King. Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. That one was really cool. That was formatted like an IKEA catalog. The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, both by Leigh Bardugo. The Roughest Draft, Emily Wibberley. Happy Place, Emily Henry. Romantic Comedy, Curtis Sittenfeld. We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. The Last Word, Taylor Adams. Hidden Pictures, Jason Rekulak. Vicious, The Villains, #1 by V.E. Schwab. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. The End of Her, Sherry Lapina. I hated that one. Other People's Clothes, Kaya Henkel. Red, White, and Royal Blue, Casey McQuiston. How to Sell a Haunted House, Grady Hendrix. The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. That one was a pretty big letdown to me. Vengeful, The Villains, #2 by V.E. Schwab. The Only One Left, Riley Sager. This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Mahatar. That one was beautiful. Fourth Wing, Rebecca Yarros. Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. That was really good. Once More with Feeling, Alyssa Sussman. Funny You Should Ask, Alyssa Sussman. Survive the Night, Riley Sager. All of the Akatar books by Sarah J. Maas. Into the Wild by Erin Hunter. Forest of Secrets by Erin Hunter. Fire and Ice by Erin Hunter. The Dangerous Path by Erin Hunter. The Darkest Hour by Erin Hunter. Okay, I'm just gonna like save myself some breath. All of these are by Erin Hunter until noted otherwise. This was a long phase. Rising Storm, Midnight, Moonrise, Dawn, Starlight, Twilight, Sunset, The Sight, Power of Three, Outcast. Okay, and then we've got a break. Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Mwah. Excited to read Ruthless Vows. The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Iron Flame, Rebecca Yarros. Legends and Lattes, Travis Baldry. Merry Little Meet Cute, Julie Murphy. And then Eclipse by Erin Hunter. Long Shadows by Erin Hunter. And Sunrise by Erin Hunter. And then my final book will be The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I will leave my Goodreads down below if you want to be friends, but also I'm gonna try to do, what's the other one? Storygraph. I'm gonna try to do Storygraph in the new year. I just always forgot to update it, so I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna just like delete my info and refresh it. And then hopefully I'll do it for this next year, because I do like the idea of seeing all the like graphs and the statistics about your reading. Like, that's so fun to me. Also, I'm saying 68. I've technically fully finished 67. I wish I could read 2 more because then 69 would be really fun. But I am halfway through the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and after I finish filming this, I will be finishing the book. So I'm counting it. I know I'm gonna finish it before midnight tonight. Okay, let's start with the tops. Let's start with the best of the best. I don't have them in any particular order except for number 1. The others are all just sort of equally good. We'll start with Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman. This was fantastic. I read this on my Cancun trip with Mackenzie because she had it. It is a theater kid's dream. It comes with its own exclusive theater kid playlist to listen to if you want. This one is about Kathleen, and she essentially was like the Britney Spears of her generation. Went to theater camp beforehand, always wanted to be an actress in like musical theater, but she popped off in the pop area, and then she got involved with like a boy band star, and they were like the Britney and Justin of their time. But she also knew this other dude, Cal, who went to the same theater camp as her, and he was in that boy band. Anyways, things get messy. Her career gets tanked along with Cal's because they're implicated together, and her big boyfriend breaks up with her. And then later on down the line, Cal is directing a Broadway musical written by Kathleen's best friend, and Kathleen, one of the roles is written for Kathleen. So they have to work together, they reunite, they sort of hash out everything that happened over their past and like forgive each other and fall in love again. And it's so cute. It was just so theater that like, if you aren't a theater person, you would probably hate it. It was just a lot of in-jokes, and I thought it was really adorable. I liked it a lot, and as someone who was missing theater a lot, this really just was a nice little reminder of what it's like and the craziness. Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Wow, this is a sequel to Ninth House, which is the Alex Stern series. Ninth House, everybody recommended it, and I was like, I'm gonna love this book. I liked it. I didn't think it was as good as it could be. So this one was coming out like a month after I read Ninth House, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. Boy, howdy, am I glad I did. Because Hellbent, obviously, is the sequel, and in Ninth House, you're mainly focusing on Alex and her getting used to like this magical world at Yale with all of the secret houses and all the powers they have, and her trying to get back her mentor who was like sucked into the underworld. His name is Darlington. And in Hellbent, she is like, Darlington plays so much more of a main character role in Hellbent, and I find their interactions so fun and so like, they have a really good relationship and banter, and like it's a slow burn. And there's a lot better use of magic in this one, I feel like, than in that one. In the first one, Ninth House, there was a lot about like abusive relationships and like sexual assault, which I didn't love. And in Hellbent, it's more like getting Darlington back and finding herself again, and Alex figuring out her place in this world. And I really, really enjoyed it. Then we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm sure this is on a ton of like top picks for the year, but Emily Henry like really can do no wrong. I just love the way she writes. It's relatable without being cringy. It is modern without, once again, being cringy. And I just really enjoy the friend groups she makes and all the dynamics she has like interwoven throughout each pair of people. And she just writes romance so beautifully, and she's just an icon. So slay, Emily. Looking forward to the one that's coming out next year. Then we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and that one is in the ether. I lent it to my friend Jenna, and then Jenna gave it to her friend Amanda, and Amanda was supposed to give it to me, but Amanda hasn't given it to me yet. She'll give it to me eventually. But yeah, so I don't have my physical copy, but it is out there, and I loved it. I adored it. It is a book I purchased and put off reading for like a year, and then once I finally read it, I couldn't put it down. It switches between like the past and Addie's, you know, time as like a French peasant essentially, and then growing up and like going through the war, the French Revolution, and like meeting a bunch of famous people, and then moving to New Orleans, and like all this time she has this relationship with the devil and sort of like her curse, and he's the only one who can remember her. And then she finally finds someone in New York City in modern times who can remember her. It's because he, you know, because there's some crazy stuff going on. I'm sure everybody's read it by now, but genuinely I adored it. It was one of my favorite reads of 2023, and it has left a very special place in my heart. And then my top read of 2023 was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book took me by such surprise. I heard it was about video games and did not pick it up for a very long time because I don't super care, to be quite honest. But I knew that the title was a Shakespeare reference, so I was a little confused. And it's a gorgeous story of how people can be important to you in different ways throughout your life, but no matter what, your love for them is still there, even if it changes shape. I can't even speak, that's how much I love this book. And the writing style was so direct and descriptive, and it really took me by surprise. It didn't feel like any of these other books, any of like the romance books I've read recently that are like, they're all written with the same sort of like nonchalant, like very familiar speaking, like, you know, it's a friend telling you these things. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is written like a gorgeous narrator from the heavens is watching these life events unfold for its main characters and telling you in the most beautifully descriptive way possible what is happening, but you still understand it. Essentially, it's about Sam and Sadie, who are childhood friends to rivals to friends again, and how their relationship evolves as they create like this hit video game, how their lives change, and it's so beautiful. And then there's also a character called Marks, and he is the best character in the whole book. And it's so, his story is so tragic and wonderful, and yeah, I cannot put into words how moved I was reading this book. I cried. I do not cry at books. This got me, and I was sad I had put it off so long. So if you have not read it yet, I cannot recommend it enough. Yes, it is about video games, but that's not the main point. The video game action is what's happening as you're watching these people grow and experience life. And that is the main point. So good. I literally gave myself chills just talking about it because I miss it. Let's talk about my bottom books. My bottom, it was gonna be bottom 5, but I only have 4. I did not read very many bad books this year. I was very good about DNFing if I just didn't give a shit. Number 1, Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss. That was the very first book I read of the year. Super short, like 100 pages. It's just like about abuse and like LARPing as ancient Britons and bog mummies. Did not love it. Next, A History of Wild Places by Shea Earnshaw. I wanted to love this one. It sounded so interesting, but then the actual story itself was like kind of lackluster, and like obviously there's a cult going on a lot of the time, and you're really confused whether you're in modern day or like not, and I don't know. It just wasn't a very satisfying story to me, and it felt very gray and dull. Like, I don't know. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. That was a book of the month choice. Ooh, not a fan. It was just sort of cringy, and like the main villain was the quintessential like neckbeard, like hentai loving, you know, man with a katana who like is a keyboard warrior. I don't know. It just felt like real caricatures, and most of the book was literally the big fight. Like the big fight was like 100 pages. It dragged on for so long, and I was like, please, someone just kill these people already. I'm over it. Yeah, didn't like it. And then The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, and that one is only in my bottom 4 because I expected something so completely like different, and there was just a lot of like weird psychosexual stuff that happened throughout it that was fine, but it's not what I wanted out of the story. The story sounded like it could be so much cooler than it was. And there was already one major like psychosexual relationship going on. There didn't need to be like 2 or 3. Like there was just a lot. However, it was a cool concept. So definitely not the worst. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. And that is my final one. Let's talk about goals for 2024 reading. I personally am going on a no-buy/low buy challenge. I will link that video down below if you want to hear about it. But one of my rules is I cannot buy physical books for all of 2024 unless it is gifted to me or I'm given a gift card to a bookstore. Like, for example, my friend Christina gave me a gift card to Barnes & Noble for Christmas in order to buy a certain book, so I'm gonna go buy that book because that's the gift. But otherwise, I cannot go and spend my own money on physical books. I'm allowed to read on my Kindle, from Kindle Unlimited, from Libby, and then I have to think really, really hard if I want to purchase any Kindle books, but no physical books are allowed to be bought. So with that, my goal is to read through 50% of my physical books that I have here. Overall, I want to read 100 books in 2024. And I know people who have done it. I know I can do it if I actually like set my mind to it and commit to it. I wanted to try it last year, but I was too afraid because there was just like a lot. And it was a big jump from 40 books to 100 books. So this year, now that I've read 68 books, 68 to 100 does not seem like a lot at all. And I know there were definitely days and weeks where I was like, oh, I could be reading right now, and just didn't. So I know I can do it. And I want it to be the physical books I have here. All the physical books I have purchased because I want to read them, you know? So I need to just start freaking reading them. I have piles. I need to get through them. And then that way I can cull out any books I don't actually want and just, you know, have a more clean, neat library and not piles on the floor. That would be ideal. I've also found myself wanting to reread a lot of books recently. I definitely did my best to not do that, but I can't help myself. I reread the whole ACOTAR series, plus I'm rereading all of the Warrior Cats books, which is a lot. I've read like 18 thus far, and I think there's like 40. To be fair, this next book is the last book I've actually read before, and then from there on out it's all brand new, so that counts. That's like fine. But with that, there are other books that I've been like, damn, I want to reread that. Like real classics that everyone loves, like modern classics, you know, like The Secret History and Evelyn Hugo. I want to reread them because I see people reading them for the first time and I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that again. So I'm gonna try that. I'm going to focus on that for January. That is gonna be like my January TBR. I will share that with you in a separate video because this one's already gonna be long enough. But I'm going to allow myself to reread whatever books I want for January 2024. And that wraps up my reading of 2023. Once again, pretty great year, reading wise, at least. I'm very proud of myself and I'm excited to push myself even further for 2024. Because I have so many good books on my shelves that I'm like, oh, I want to read that. But then I just forget to read that because they're always there. And I'm like, oh, I have time. Well, now's the time. I will be putting out, you know, a January/February, maybe just a winter in general TBR soon, so you can see what's going on there. I'd love to know how many books you read in 2023, and, you know, if you had a favorite, please let me know. I would love to see. And if you want to be friends on Goodreads or Storygraph, I'm putting it down below, and I'm committing to trying Storygraph this year. I will make it happen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fabulous whatever time of day you're in. I hope your 2024 is off to a good start, and I will be talking to you very, very soon. Bye.